Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Hello, everybody. I believe Decksays' timer is 15 seconds off. I will make note of that very quickly. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. I'd love some confirmation that you can hear me. 1 2 indeed, very good. I will actually not be commentating this one. I know you guys are probably sick and tired of me, so I'm going to sit this one out. Instead, I'm going to hand it over to one of Rando's most beloved couples, the mom and dad of Fresh Faces 3, if you will. Banjo Forever and Little Erdez. Banjo Forever and Little Erdez. Thank you so much for taking it away. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Roro. Yes, I am Little Herdez, or AKA, as you may hear me be referenced in this, Travis. I am joined by my lovely wife and fellow Fresh Faces competitor, Banjo Forever. Banjo, say something.
Something.
There you go. You may hear me reference to her as Susan. So
wow, with the legal names.
Yep, legal government names, but you know it just sort of
right
happens. But yes, they do start with Reflect and
promise charm right off the bat.
Yes. So Roro cooked up something pretty good. They do start off with Reflect, so we're not going Reflectless here, and we also start with Promise Charm. So we're on the face of finding just 3 proofs, and we're gonna see where this goes. So we do see a change in shotguns, one going to Deck, going to Beast Castle, while Timbo taking the Death Abuse in Agrabah. We might see a couple Death Abuse from the get-go. But Susan, let me ask you, since you were in Fresh Faces and all that, do you prefer to do your Death Abuses first, or do you prefer to do some sort of like shotgun, like you take the Death Abuse and then you shotgun that world?
I used to just shotgun and just do my Death Abuses as I went, but as I depending on the type of seed that you're running, so especially for this type of format, get your Death Abuses out as soon as you can. That way you can jump into a world and go straight to the end to get your first report as soon as you can. The reason you do your Death Abuses really early is because you have the least amount of health, so it'll take the least amount of time.
Yeah, so that's the thing about these settings, especially on beginner, is that when you do pick up an HP up, it kind of throws a little bit off of your Death Abuse. So you kind of want to do a little bit of Death Abuses from the beginning, try to get the easy ones out of the way, because once you start getting the first and second health HP ups, then those Death Abuse just take a couple seconds longer. So you want to save, the seconds where you can, because some of these matches are very, very close, as we've seen. But as we can see, yes, we have Deck going into BC Castle, finishing up their shotgun here.
Magnet.
Yep, got Magnet and Genie. We see Timbo did do their Death Abuse in Agrabah, dipped out, and then went straight into Beast Castle as well, too. I imagine Deck is just going to go around the GOA as well and do their Death Abuse. So here's what I'm seeing, and this is also another controversial thing, so to speak. What's the correct direction to go around the GOA? Is it clockwise or is it counterclockwise?
I don't do either. I don't settle into something. I think it depends on the seed format and what tools you have. That's what I personally think. But if you, let's say, for example, you get all your Death Abuses out of the way, wherever your last Death Abuse is, go counterclockwise.
So you're more of a, like, I'm going to hit diagonals, go across the GOA and all that before you finally decide on if you're going to clockwise or counterclockwise?
Prove a piece. Oh my gosh, in Agrabah. So,
yes, now we're down to a shotgun of another proof. So now, so for me, if I'm in this situation, I'm starting to think, well, this is going to be a somewhat of a jet seed. Okay, if the other 2 proofs are very early, I'm doing my shotguns. I'm going to finish my shotguns so I have the tools, I have what I need to get through the rest of this. I would say in these racers' minds, if they see that second one, they're kind of thinking about that, but they're also thinking about, well, my opponent is probably going to be in the same situation. I just have to go, and we might start seeing some very, very risky plays of, I'm not going to push this world, or I'm going to push this world deeper to find more information or find more tools to get these done.
So each proof of Murph, each seed is different. So if you're very set into, like, I'm someone who's very big into routine. Like, I prefer do all my Death Abuses, do all my shotguns, then I'll push worlds, push the same worlds like DC and Halabastion that have quick reports. But For example, with this seed, I wouldn't do that because it could only delay the amount of time, because obviously the seed is telling you the proofs are probably really early. There's that chance that it could be a jet seed, that they might be really shallow checks that you need to get to. So you have to change up your strategy to match what the seed is telling you to do.
Yeah, and as we see on Deckside, both of them are in Agrabah. We see that without some sort of offensive magic, breaking that little shop to get that one chest is always like the toughest thing, because if you don't have an offensive magic, you have to bait the enemies. You can use the limit of Aladdin, but it's very, very difficult to try to get the right like angle on it. And then you could try to use all like the other enemies in the room, but it's a hot mess if it happens. But this Agrabah is kind of paying out. They find an accessory slot. They're finding their offensive magic. They found 2 glides so far, so they're really moving so far through this seed. So it's going to make a lot of these shotguns go very, very quick, especially for shotguns like TT, where you have to fly around a lot, or OC, where you're flying downhill. You really want those glides to go really fast.
And I think in regards to TT, again, depending on the seed, I think a Death Abuse in TT, if you don't get like final form really early, take the Death Abuse, because that can be time consuming, that TT station fight.
Yeah, so usually when you're in beginner and you're taking the Death Abuses and all that, they do magnet. So they have Magnera and Fantasia. Wow. Great limit to use when you don't have Duck Flare or anything else, and you kind of need to be invulnerable, but you also still need to do damage. Fantasia is or Comet, as it appears in the limit menu, is really, really good. All right, so we see Deck going into DC, doing their DC shotgun. We're going to find out what's here. We're going to see if they're going to do mini push. I know you kind of want to do mini push a little bit just to get the report right off the bat, but I've seen some people just leave and decide to come back when they absolutely need it, or they have the TR access.
I personally do mini push. Some people do where they actually push her. I can't do that. I just have never figured out how to be able to do it. But they do have, or at least Deck has, well now Timbo has, Magnera. So, I mean, it should be pretty straightforward doing the push. But it doesn't look like it. It looks like Deck's gonna probably leave and come back. Again, he's probably just feeling the seed for what it's telling him to do.
Exactly. So it's probably one of those that's like he's seen these other 2 like proofs that he already has, and he's like, if I'm pushing mini, sure, I get the information, but I'm spending the time to push mini that I could be checking my other shotguns and potentially just get the other 2 proofs and not have to worry about pushing mini at all too. So this is where I was talking about, where you start to see these very risky, not sort of risky plays, but these very different plays than you normally would see, because then in the back of your mind you're already thinking jet seed, gotta go. But sometimes we see you can get 2 or 3 proofs within sub 10, sub 15, and then the very last proof is just buried somewhere deep. So this is where it comes into play of like, what are you going to push? What information do you want to search out for? Yes, wisdom, the very first form. So I haven't seen any kind of light and darkness yet. So we're just going to see wisdom. We're not going to see any final forcing, but a very good tool to now get through TT1 station fight without taking that Death Abuse. As for Timbo,
Sword of the Ancestor over in I don't remember what it's called.
Halloween Town. Yes. So Sword of the Ancestor did get LOD, so does LOD 2, so does have Throne Room. A very good accessory in Cosmic Arts. Their third Magnet, so they have Magnega already. So, and the other Bone Fist. Okay, so very early on, before Candy Cane Lane, Halloween Town paying off really, really good. Unfortunately, with Magnega, a little side note with that is that if you do find Explosion, I know the very popular is to do Magnet Explosion. But when it comes to Magnega, the very interesting thing about that is the magnet pulls them up too high when you have all 3 magnets. So Magnet Explosion no longer, it still works, but not as good. You only hit like some of the enemies. So that's why sometimes you may see people opt to be upset about getting the third magnet, even though it's really good, because if you have Magnera and Explosion, it's so powerful and so good. But we did get once more in Pride Lands. We do see Deck pushing out the rest of these checks to see if they find anything interesting. Another Battlefield to War. As for Timbo getting through Candy Cane Lane, we're going to see what's in these 4 chests. Getting a Keyblade. What else are they getting? Another HP up. Drive gauge is really good. And I think they picked up the left chest. They might be coming back out to get it. But Deck did pick up... Oh, there is the third proof.
See, that's why, again, death abuses can sometimes... I usually will push straight through to Christmas Town. Here, that'll be my first world that I actually push with have a battle. Sometimes they pay off, just those initial shotguns. And again, do you go clockwise? Do you go counterclockwise? Do you go across the aisle? It just really depends on how you play.
Yeah, here's the really scary thing about all this is that they're only through like the smaller shotguns. You still have OC that has 7 checks right off the bat. You have TT1 that has at least 8 or 9 checks in the shotgun. You have SP that has 4 chests there. Like, you have a good amount of checks still available in these shotguns that this last proof can pop up and then they'll just go. So
you have all the tools already.
Yeah.
You have the magnets, you have the reflect.
That was Explosion in OC, by the way. As we were mentioning earlier, like I said, it's nice to have, but that Magnega doesn't make it perfect. It takes it away, but it's still very, very useful. Magnet Explosion is very powerful and did find a master form. So now we have 2 forms, but accessory slot as well too. So many good things here in OC.
It's happening so fast.
Exactly. I was here with the donation. I appreciate it. I didn't quite see the dollar amount here, but we will get to that. I will pull up the donations here. Give me just a second. In the meantime, Susan, do you want to commentate on what Timbo's doing here?
So it does look like Timbo is going to be pushing through TT. And as I mentioned before, even if you're not doing the death abuse, TT has a lot of checks straight up front. I mean, especially with a seed like this where it looks really shallow, with the amount of checks that TT1 has, you have to push it. You can choose to push it off, but I would say you'd be remiss not to do it.
Do you want to read what I Was Here donated? He donated $1. Do you want to read his message? Right here?
$2.
Right here. What did I Was Here say?
Thank you. I was here. He said someone forgot to tell Roro to disable his jet seed generator. Agreed. And as we've seen in one of the qualifiers, that jet seeds can make or break. It can really shake things up. I'm gonna be really honest. I was surprised that I even jet seeded, because usually I'm someone who's like, you know what? When I do it, I'm just gonna change up what I do last minute, and then it ends up biting me in the booty.
Yes. So speaking of these jet seeds and these settings and all that, Susan, you know that I made these settings. I kind of curated them to not lean to jet seeds, but to at least give you some sort of direction. As a competitor, and since I'm in the booth here, and you can be 100% honest, how do you feel about them?
In comparison to other types, or just this on its own?
This on its own.
This on its own. I think the sense of direction helps certain people. Some people don't like that type of direction. They like to just, like I said before, they just like to feel the seed and go for it. But for someone like me, I prefer to have direction. So there's an intent behind it. My intention is to find the reports, get the information that tells me where I need to go, as opposed to more of a freeform type seed where it feels like I get really lost in the seed and don't know where to go, and then I forget to go over to Pirates to get a reflect, which had the proof. So,
all right. Now, as your husband, do you curse these settings every time you get a jet seed or you don't get what you want?
No. I've actually never felt that about these types. So
no. So, But as we see them push through, TT1 really didn't have anything, and we do see Timbo heading into SP, getting a couple tools, getting some accessories to put on there to boost up these stats. But speaking of these stats, Magic is really, really looking good right here. Already at level 13 on Deck's side, 11 on Timbo's side. They're already in the mid-20s, which is you can push PR, you can one-shot pirates, you have Magnego, which is going to melt through mobs of enemies in most of these worlds. So this magic stat looking really, really good, but the strength stat, as we've seen in many, many seeds before, just never wants to show up. So we'll see if that kind of balances out. They may have to tailor their keyblades, their accessories to strength to get that up, but we'll see that as it comes. So we did get another donation from Walpy. It was a $10 donation. We will get the message here in just a second here. Here you go. What does that say from Walpy?
It says, give me yeeters, peoples. Want yeeters, any yeeters.
All right. Thanks, Walpy, for the $10.
Wow, Welby, you were here for a second.
Yes, Walpy was here for a second. We know that when we see membership card, we're gonna hear the famous line from Walpy. I'm pretty sure he's gonna join us in the booth really fast just to say it. But yeah, we'll see exactly where this goes. We do see Timbo heading into 100 which I almost said PR, but he got the page from PR. But he only has one page compared to Dex having 2 pages. So we'll see if they
doesn't
decide to
have
push
a
any
money
further.
pouch though.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's not pushing, so
No.
it's just like a shotgun.
100 Acre Woods is kind of that weird situation of, do you want to push it, do you not want to push it? Because the time investment to push all those mini games, if you do them all the way through with all the pages, is about 5 minutes or so. But it's once again like, hey, if I push mini, it's going to spend that time. So if I push this mini game in 100 Acre Woods, it can spend that time. But with great risk comes sometimes great reward. So, you know, I've seen settings where I've pushed 100 Acre Woods and what I need is right there. And I'm thinking, my opponent has not pushed this, I'm ahead. So it's risk reward kind of plays that we're going to start to see here.
So I'm going to tell you guys a secret. This is a theory I have, and obviously Travis knows about this theory that I have. Is if a seed is giving you all of an item in regards to torn pages or forms, if it's giving it to you all up front, you probably don't need to go there. So for forms, 2 out of 5. I mean, I don't think there's probably going to be anything on there. And it's not that there's a proof there, but there might be something important there. But especially in regards to torn pages, if you get like 3 pages right off the bat, like right at your shotguns, there's probably nothing really important there. But I would still push it. If you have it, just go and do it.
Yeah. So we do see Deck finishing up their SP. We do see Timbo doing the mini push, which is very surprising here, Susan, because usually you see mini pushes very early, so you can get that information. We're almost 20 minutes in, and we're finally gonna get our first piece of information.
First report.
So we're most likely from Timbo gonna see 2 reports after the 20-minute mark, which is very abnormal for these because you usually see it first thing. If I had that Magnego from the start, like they did, I would have immediately started bolting to 100, not 100, I went to Hollow Bastion to get that report off of there because Magnego works so well on Bailey fight. And then you come do mini push. Mini push takes about a minute or 2, and that's 2 reports. You're already 3 proofs down. If you get a hint for the other proof, you're go, go, go. So this, we're going to see if Deck skipping this was worth it or if the proof is going to be hinted by this report.
With this type of setting, I believe there's 2 types of seed. There's information driven and there's action driven. And I think that this is probably a seed that appears to be action driven, which is why it's taken so long for someone to push something that would take us to a report. And as we can see, Deck here is going to be going to HB, so we're also going to see on that side. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just in those initial chests, or maybe the report points to where it is. But that's why it's taken a little bit to get there.
All right, Susan, do you want to announce our first hint here?
I can't see that. Oh, so it does look like Source Heart's been revealed. What we do see is a blizzard and
Thunder.
Thunder, thank you. And limit form. So again, if something's pushing you to get a lot of stuff up front, my theory is there's something on there.
Yeah, so we did see the Thunder on level 12, which they both have already. So the Blizzard and the limit form is a little bit deeper. If drives do come into play here, that limit form could be a big part, and depending on how deep it is, it's going to be very interesting to see, because usually you see that limit form, you get Trinity limit, you immediately start to push that STT. So if you're waiting on limit form, it could be very deep, and you could be holding off STT for a very long time.
You know what I do find kind of interesting is that, and this is the same thing that, like, when I do my practices with my brother, that my brother's Baggins, in case you guys didn't know that, that they are running almost like adjacent to each other. They're not going at the exact same time, but usually when one leaves, one enters. When one enters, one leaves. So as we can see, they're both in HB right now. They both just did 100 Acre Woods. So we've yet to see them kind of diverge from their shared path.
Yeah, so this is the last world that technically they're going to be shotgunning. Deck hasn't done TT1, so we might see them go into TT1. But after this, Timbo's pretty much done with all their shotguns. We'll see where he decides to push further in. From the looks of it, Timbo might be going to do shotguns. Or not shotguns, he might be doing report pushes. While Deck will figure out what he's going to be doing. But we did see Mr. Slim with the big $150 donation. So everybody get your claps out for Mr. Slimbert here, our resident TO. Susan, do you want to read what Slimba said in his donation?
Slimba said, "Proof Hades, please."
All right, Slim. So hopefully we can make that come to fruition. We know that Slim actually does love pushing OC, pushing Hades. He's our resident Berserk Hori pusher. So he just likes to see Berserk Hori, and he likes to do all the boxes where you can Berserk Hori. But we do see both of them getting the report from Hollow Bastion, and well, it looks as though that they may not be pushing STT for a very long time, because that just got hinted. And Susan, is there anything important in STT that points out to you?
Yes. So, and I did see it in chat, but Royal Summons, that points out to me. And the reason being is that in the last Jet Seed and the seed that I just did, that we had a we had a DC Timeless River proof, right? So pattern of seeds, maybe, but as we saw that after their initial push, it did not blue out, which means there is something else in that world.
Yeah, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they approach this STT, because not only does it have just one unlock, which is Royal Summons, which is actually very good for a quick shotgun after the initial shotgun, but you have Scimitar, and if they have to go to Genie Jafar, or if they have to go to Ruined Chamber, yes, Agrabah 2 doesn't have a lot of checks, but if they have to go there, they not only have to push that and get the Scimitar, but they also have to find another Blizzard. Because right now, without all three magics, they can't push Agrabah 2. So they're hoping, hey, I don't have to go here because, one, I don't have to try to find a Blizzard and have to try to go at Agrabah 2 if it's there. But also, I don't want to push TR. I don't want to go all the way potentially to Mansion to find these checks.
And especially when you have so many options right now for Worlds, and because you already have 3 of your, Promise Charm and 2 proofs. So do you want to take the risk and jump in there and have to do a time sink and then have it not pay off when you have so many other options, which is why you usually see people not do STT. As we saw, Station 5, we got an ice cream. Wow. But that's why you usually don't see people push STT, because it can be considered a time sink. Even though technically it's not a prison as it used to be in old days of Rando, but it can still make or break a seed.
Hey, yo, you just push TT1, push Station Fight, and you get rewarded with TT2, and you get another Thunder. So they have really, really good magic, especially as I said earlier, this magic stat is just going through the roof. They're getting these stat ups for it. They're getting good accessories. They found another Proud Fang, so they have Pride Lands 2, which also still isn't blue yet.
Have they checked their keyblades for light and darkness yet?
I haven't seen anybody check the keyblades yet. We might see Timbo do it here. Nope, he's just decided just to go out really fast. So they might be trying to hold off on checking all their information yet on the keyblades to see about getting all the shotguns done first before equipping everything. Because the less time you're in menus, the more time you push, you can go through everything. But from the voices inside our head, we did hear that it is confirmed that they don't have light and darkness as of yet, so they can't force it. But yeah, we see Deck getting some good abilities at the bottom of Yensid Tower. We did see Flash Step, so they have a gap closer. Meanwhile, Timbo is doing the Scar push. You know, I've been seeing a lot of Scar done really, really early, like sub 25 minutes, sub 30, which is very interesting, but they have the tools to do so. So what do you think? Do you wait on Scar for certain tools? Do you wait for certain stats? What's your approach on doing Scar?
I hate Scar.
Is it the DMs?
It's the DMs. He just has such a long time between when it comes out of his DM and where you can actually hit him that, again, like STT, it can make or break a seed. Because you're like, come on, I've hit you. Please, go down. Take it like a man, you know? But honestly, I think if you're not me, then it's a smart push because it's just me who messes it up all the time. I think it's a smart push because there's such a short time. You've already done all the initial checks. It's really short to just go and push the fight.
Exactly. So we do see
Identity
Deck at the top of Yensid. He did get Identity Disc. He got another report that shows Agrabah, and Agrabah is pretty much done. They just have the other Reflect there if they want Reflera, but they don't have to worry about that other Scimitar. So that's one unlocked down in STT. So you're wondering just about DC now.
Good job, Timbo.
Claps out for Timbo for getting through Scar. We're going to see what this report tells us. And Space Paranoid.
He got the information.
Wait. This is very interesting. So he's immediately going to push it. But if it's in SP2, he has to climb tower. And it looks as though he may be holding off on pushing TT1 until he has final form. So this could make it really, really interesting. So if it's not in if it's not an SP1, he has to push Twilight Town, which is a very easy report to get. Now, sometimes you want to wait to get final form to push that station fight, but as time goes on, you're wondering, I need that report. It may be very, very beneficial. So we're going to see what Timbo does after this. So we have knowledge of our final proof. So we're going to see where this goes. Timbo playing this very smart, getting levels first, because if it's not in SP1, and it's an SP2, he still needs the stats.
SP2.
Yeah, he still needs the stats. So he could have left immediately and just banked it on it was an SP1 and then get levels through the Promise Charm room. But he's not banking that. Oh, Limit Form is actually pretty early as well too, level 25, and he decides, let's just go. Meanwhile, Deck does finish Thresholder. We're going to see what's behind Thresholder and up to Beast. Susan, look at these stats.
Yeah, I mean, that poor strength, but that magic is really high. I mean, as you can see, we have all the magic tools, really. So
he went 9 levels above what Deck has and gained 6 strength, but gained 10 magic and 4 defense. So you're going to be very, very, very weak, so to speak. Deck is not going to have, or Deck and Timbo are probably not going to have strength for this final fights when they do get to it. Sora did not lift anything. He's just been solely working on his knowledge. He's been cramming those books.
So for Timbo here, it looks like probably his hope is that if it is an SP2, that this report in SP tells him where the identity disc is.
All right. So we did get another donation. I appreciate it. I saw that was from I Was Here. We're going to see that it was a $5 donation with just a simple comment of jet noises.
No.
Isn't that more of a car?
It's
You know what? Well, that was just pretty, you know, I can't even knock that. But that is a pretty good, really good sound effect. So I appreciate that. I thought a jet was flying over our house right now for how realistic that was. All right, so we see Timbo fighting hostile pro. See, I'm so distracted by your jet noises that I can't even get words out now. But we do see Deck finishing up. They did get a membership card from the mini game before the lanterns before Beast Castle, as Walpy would say, membership card.
Membership card.
All right, and then they're gonna just leave. They're probably gonna head to. Oh no, they're gonna finish HB1. And there's the proof just on hostile program. So Timbo is in go go go. So didn't need to do TT1. Didn't need SP2. Timbo is just in go mode. It's unfortunate that Deck is playing great. He is pushing everything. It's just unfortunate that it's just sitting in SP1, because if it was sitting in SP2, then we could have seen just a little bit longer where Deck could have just made the gamble of SP for levels and everything else and got that proof to go go go. But it's just sitting on hostile program with that other report, which actually did reveal Halloween Town. So if we want to just take a look at that really fast, Halloween Town just has a report left, so they got nothing else.
So kind of like I mentioned earlier, is that Scar push, again, it's short, it's quick, not necessarily the fight, but the distance between when you'd have to make your second return after shotguns, and it can make or break a seed, which in this case worked into Timbo's favor because it made his seed. And luckily it was not an SP2, so he didn't have to go and make the push for a second identity, or the identity disc.
All right, so we got another $5 donation here from Tide HR, with just the message. What does it say?
It says RIP MCP, gang.
Do we all like MCP anyways? He just wants to de-res Tron. As we were saying before, we can see that Timbo is noticing that strength never happened. He is level 39 and strength has gone up about 4 levels for him. 4 or 5. So he is going to be level 1 strength. But Deck cleanly threw Darkthorn and whatever the Shadow Ball is. I always forget what their names are. Shadow Stalker, Darkthorn. Shadow Stalker and Darkthorn. Did get a report for OC, and OC, OC kind of stacked though. So OC has your second chance, has final form, has the other Beast Claw. We know Beast is unfortunately dead, so you didn't have to go there, but it has a pretty good stuff. So if you push OC early, you get rewarded with a handful of things. This defense and magic stat is bonkers.
I mean, what I will say is, going into these final fights, that Timbo's lucky that he has such a high magic, and he has Magnega, because especially in these first couple of rooms and stuff that he's, before he goes to engines, and that he needs the Magnega, right? And a high magic stat, and that will help hopefully compensate for the strengths that he needs in other spaces.
Yeah, so we see Deck going back to go do mini push, deciding, you know what, now is the time to start pushing the mouse to try to get this report. Maybe it's going to point to the proof that I need, and then we'll see. But depending on what information they get, we know it's going to be levels. But with that information, we're going to see exactly where they decide to push next. Meanwhile, Timbo's making through these engines very, very quickly with this Magnega. You just toss one up and it hits a bunch of enemies and you're good to go. A little secret, if you actually fly to the corner, one of these corners on this little platform, they group up. They spawn and group up very close together, that you can just toss a magnet if you have baby magnet and get them a lot easier. So if you fly to a corner, it kind of is nice because they just they spawn on top of each other.
Yeah, that usually just messes me up more. Which
is fine. So I prefer to do it. Others just prefer to stand in the middle, use Chicken Little, whatever it may be, to get through that.
Chicken Little is great. If they only had Baby Magnet, but they had Chicken Little, use that instead.
Yeah, so as we were speaking very early in this, we see Timbo trying to do the magnet explosion. But as you can see, the Magnega pushes them way too high that the explosion just doesn't really hit. So it's very hard to get that done.
Okay, very cleanly getting rid of the, what are they called? The ones with the big hammers.
Berserkers.
The berserkers. Getting rid of the berserker real quick. Let's tell you what, he can be a pain in the butt. Every time. This one always messes me up.
Yes. So with that strength, with that magic stat, little known fact, the ceiling for engine core is sky high. So the higher stat you have above the 40s, like in the 60s and all that, the more damage you're going to do. So as we saw with Timbo using explosion, he was chunking through health bars because he had a very high magic stat. In the meantime, Deck is heading to OC, trying to get all those little goodies, the second chance, the final form, PR2, to try to get all the way through PR. And probably just going to leave after that because he doesn't need the report unless he wants to go do it. But he doesn't need the cure. He doesn't need the Beast Claw.
So as we saw when Deck was trying to figure out right before he jumped into OC, figure out where he wanted to go, it's something that happens to newer people. I can say this from my own personal experience that sometimes, especially when you get a jet seed and you've gotten a lot of stuff really fast and you've gotten especially 3 proofs all at the same time, you can feel stuck. You don't know where you need to go because you suddenly start feeling behind because you're suddenly become very aware that there's another racer who has the same exact stuff you probably do. So he's probably pushing in to get final, and there's probably a chance after that he'll then go to TT.
All right, so we do see Timbo making their way, getting the second push back, going to be finishing up Armor Chair 2. Here is something to remember. They didn't have to find the Reflect because they started off with one, so they are going to be doing this with Reflect, but they are going to be doing it with Baby Reflect. We have seen a lot of these Baby Reflect seeds.
Baby Reflect.
So
I blame Roro.
You blame Roro?
Blame Roro.
I blame Roro 100% as well, too. So I take it your thoughts on Baby Reflect Final Zemnis is you absolutely do not like it, right?
No, because it's, especially with me, it's fickle. It just doesn't happen. But in my race I did recently, I did it without a Reflect. Oh no! What, did it stop?
Yeah, Timbo's stream is taking a little bit of a break here, it looks like, but it looks like we're coming back here. Yeah, it was just a little break.
I was worried he was crashing out. I was very scared for him.
It just took a little break. So we're going to see, Baby Reflect Final Zem. The little trick here is if you do have Baby Reflect, the dance portion is fine, like as Timbo's doing right now. You just have to remember, and what I've been told and what I've seen is that when you're doing through laser phase on the floor and you're using Baby Reflect, you have to take that stutter step forward, but you have to not go too far forward because then you hit the laser. So you can do Reflect and then a swing, or you can do just a regular attack and then Reflect to try to get within range of
that
where.
was a good clean
Getting the second throw. The second throw is actually really good because he's going to get a good amount of damage and he doesn't have to worry about the laser phase. But it looks like he's just opting just to do the reactions so he doesn't have to over damage.
Sometimes it's also better safe than sorry.
All right, so here we go. We're going to see if Timbo does the little step forward. Yeah, he's trying to do a swing and then
He's trying to take the hit on the big one.
There we go. So we're going to be a little bit close here if he does one more Reflect and it hits. So we're going to see exactly if he can get the dome skip. It's going to be very, very close. Ooh, okay. So this is not going to kill. So if he continues this, he is not going to get... Oh, no, he's going to get dome skip because of the magic stat. Ooh, wait. The strength is not helping him, though. No, he's not going to get it. He has to stop before he does all ends, which he knows. And then toss a thunder. There you go. GG's, Timbo.
GG's, Timbo. My fellow three-peat.
Yes, so Timbo, with the knowledge to know that he wasn't going to finish it, just to quickly toss ethers, did panic a little bit. You did see a Reflect come out, but recognized, hey, I got to toss a thunder, and then that was a good kill. So GG's, Timbo.
Yeah, I know. I would have messed that up.
Deck, with the knowledge that Timbo's done, he knows that it's a jet seed. He's just probably trying to look for where potentially this jet seed could have been. So he's probably thinking in his mind, well, it could be LOD, it could be just PR Town, it could be in SP1, it could be in LOD. So
what you got to think is that it's either he got told the report really early, or he got it really early.
Yeah, so Dex probably is gonna finish this out, probably looking for the final form, and then is going to from there decide where he's gonna go, where potentially this other proof could have been. All right, so there's final form. Is he gonna get the skull and crossbones, or he's just gonna finish this out? Yeah, it looks like he's probably gonna just potentially finish out OC1 to get the knowledge to see if this was potentially something that Timbo pushed and got the report on, and then it was just somewhere sitting really nicely. If not, we'll see where he decides to go. But yep, once again, GG's to Timbo. Timbo does move on to our top 8, so he'll see who he faces very shortly when he takes a look at the bracket. But in the meantime, we do see Deck going through. I was about to say data demics. I've seen so many data demics lately. But going through demics, just use Fire and Wisdom for to get through it. All right, so through demics he goes. All right, let's see. Is the lock going to pay out? Pay out with this skill and crossbones? Nope. Deck just leaves saying, hey, it's not here. This is probably not what he did.
Just going for final.
Yeah. Yep. He is pushing Space Paranoid, so he's going to go get levels. He's going to then do probably Hostile Program and realize, okay, this is where it was pushing.
There may be a chance that the reason he's doing the ones he's doing is because he's pushing for drives. Because he got final, then he left, and then now he's pushing for levels, which, as we know, has limit.
Yeah. So it's one of those that, hey, it could be on early drives. It could be just on limit 2. It could be on Wisdom 5. It could be on final 2 if you held off doing Twilight Town.
What we saw was a great example of what Travis mentioned earlier, which was having Magnega can affect your use of explosion. So sometimes it just puts them a little too high to use explosion on it right after.
Yeah, so with the magic set that they do have, you could toss up double magnet and they will die. I think it is about level 30, or when your magic set's 36, 37, I think it's 37, you'll start one-shotting if you toss up a double magnet.
Well, I guess he's not pushing for that limit. Might just be pushing to do it.
Yeah, probably pushing through it to do it. Probably is realizing, hey, it's not on levels, obviously, which means it's probably not on drives. So I'm just going to finish this out. And then he's going to see, hey, here's the proof. This is what he did. So, yep, probably going to pick these chests up and then head into Hostile Program. Yep, there we go. All right, so we're going to see Deck get their last proof, and then we're going to see them head into final fights. What a jet seed. The jet seed, the report in Pride Lands really, really paid off. That Scar push is always risky because you need to have the right tools to make it quick. And if you don't, it could be risky because Scar is, as you were saying, very, very fickle, very, very unfriendly with his anger. He likes to get very angry. But this time around, and you kind of want to, if you take that time to do Scar, and it takes a very long time, you want to hope that you get a very good piece of information. And in this case, for Timbo, he got the exact piece of information he needed. It's just not. It's very, very fortunate that happened too, because like as we were saying earlier, SP2 access is at the top of TT1. So if it went into SP2, it was a matter of, was Timbo going to do it afterwards, or was he just going to push other reports first before he ended up doing TT1 for the Space Paranoids 2 access? All right, so Deck is trying to slap Hostile Program to his next phase, and Strength just is. It's not fun. Let's just put it that way. It's just not fun.
So, as you were talking, I was thinking probably the reason that he pushed for final form And as we can see, he's got the proof here. So let's see if he ends up continuing. You can see on his screen that he is acknowledging where it probably was. But sometimes, especially with fresh faces, with people who are just learning, they've only learned how to do things one specific way. And so it could be that maybe he was pushing for final because he knows that when you do SP and you do hostile program, that using final helps it go fast. So that could have been the reason he pushed for final. We'll never know. We could always ask him later. But
yeah. So I have Deckstream up, and yeah, he saw the proof. He had a reaction to it. He knew that it was just an unfortunate placement for that, but he's on his way. He's finishing out the seed for us, which is really, really nice. Love to see them finishing out the seeds, regardless if they are winning, whether they're losing, whether they lost by seconds, whether they lost by minutes. It's always good to finish out your seeds. But it's understandable if you do take a DNF, like you say, you know what, this is too much, it's going to take too long. It's always understandable for that too. But Deck here finishing this out for us. We're going to see them do their final fights, realizing that there is no strength and resistance for this seed. Trying to put on just abilities to help their magic go a little bit better. They do have second chance once more, so they are a little bit safer.
that would be helpful.
Yes, so they could take a couple hits. They do have a very beefy HP bar. Like, that bar is very beefy.
Especially with little to no strength. Because we saw he didn't really push a lot for, I mean, at 35, your strength is 25, so he's going to need the beefy bar.
Yeah, you can kind of realize, like, as you're getting levels, if you're going to get a certain stat or not. Probably just realize, hey, I'm doing one trip. What do my stats look like? Oh, my strength is kind of abysmal. I'm not going to push it anymore. You can kind of just say, okay, I'm just going to lean into magic, because you could attempt to go through the rooms over and over and over to get your strength up, but then you're making 2, 3, 4 trips to try to get that strength up, where you can just rely on the magic that you have. This Magnega is just putting in so much work this seed.
It's really working overtime.
I think I've seen it in every world that they've been in, because it's just with the magic stat that they have, it just makes it really, really good. Like, these engine cylinders, not engine core, but I guess the engines, they call them left cylinder, right cylinder, which is really weird. It should just be left engine, right engine, but it is what it is. Yeah, see, here we go. Oh, wait, I thought he was going to the corner. He doesn't necessarily have to run to the corner to use the reaction, but I guess he wanted to make it a little bit shorter reaction.
That, or sometimes, again, fresh faces, when you only know something one way.
Yeah.
That was just me. If you guys have ever watched a lot of my earlier seeds, it's kind of hot trash.
You don't play like hot trash.
Not now.
But yeah, we're gonna see
Hexagon-shaped cylinder. Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's probably why they call them cylinders.
So we're gonna see, yeah, the strength is really not doing much to this, but it's just gonna just whack at this until we get to the next phase, and then toss up the magnets. I don't know. Did we actually see if Deck used their money pouch?
I don't think so. I didn't see anybody actually use their money pouch.
Other reflects were Agrabah 2 and TT3, and the other ice cream was on Shan Yu. So they were only going to get the one reflect.
That's all they needed. Because in the seeds, all of the checks were early checks.
Yeah. There we go.
Not to us, because we know what kind of strength you need to have to do SP.
Yeah. So heading to Armature 1. And then going to be finishing out this. All right. Yep. Reflect Explosion. Going to go through these health bars really fast. Just went through 2 health bars with that Reflect Explosion. All right, so Armature 2, probably going to see this go really fast through health bars as well too. Just going to use probably Reflect Explosions and Thunders. Baby Reflect, just making it where you have to be like right up in his face to actually get the Reflect in. There we go. I still don't know if it's faster or not faster. Once you hit the health gate, you can kind of jump backwards and start flying away and then get hit. I still don't know if it's faster to do that or if it's just the same time frame. I've seen both ways. I just never really timed it out myself, and I never really bothered to ask. I've heard conflicting things, but you can just start jumping and flying away if you really want to. You'll still get hit. It's just very interesting that I see sometimes it being done and other times it not being done. Yep, there's the pushback. Okay, so ready on the second one, you just spam the jump button here to get above the lasers.
It's a good jump. I've never been able to master that.
Yes. You want to jump up high enough as well too, because depending on where Sora's at, he's going to toss the buildings on there. So you want to be above that the first building that pops up, because that's your fast building. So you want it to be above that, because if it's not above that, it's going to hit the building and it's going to come flying at you. So we're going to see them get through Armor Chair 2, going to head into Final Zemnis. GG's to Timbo once again. We do have a next slate of matches coming up later today. So while he finishes up Armor Chair 2, our next match after today, or after this one.
After today, wow.
After
Should
today,
we tell the other racers?
Later today, we have a little bit of a break in between, but we have Podgy and So coming up next at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be definitely a good one. But yeah, and then after that, it's just a series of more matches, one after another. So this is going to be a slight break between this one. But we do see Deck heading into Final Zemnis, doing the little dance.
Do a little dance.
Make a little love. Get down tonight.
No, don't say no.
That's the song. No, nothing.
The children.
There's children around. Oh, I'm sorry, chat. Your children.
Copyright now. That's great. Now the stream's gonna get muted.
All right. You know what? Everybody donate, please, to keep this channel alive.
Keep it alive.
It's we're
Before
really
we get YMCA.
We're really donating for charity here, so make sure you get your donations in. There is the pin link for the donations at the top. Tell us your thoughts about this jet seed. Tell us your thoughts about how Roro can turn off the jet seed option in the generator. So make sure you do that as well too. All right, so Deck getting through this, trying to get into the. Oh, that laser was going in the circle.
Some pointed out he might not have reflect short.
No, he does.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Yeah, it's right. It's at the bottom too. Trying to get dome skip set up.
It's unfortunate. It's just a little off the bar.
Yeah. All right, this is gonna push it. Yeah, now he has to stop, and he's gonna do this. You have to do 2 reflects, and then you have to go straight into the session. Or thunder, really. Yep, there we go.
GG's.
Let's go.
Good
Deck.
job, Deck.
Both our racers getting their dome skips, so very nice to see that these dome skips are being practiced and they are able to get them. So GG's all around. Timbo, GG's for the win. Deck, GG's for finishing out the seed and making a good race. Timbo's on to top 8. Deck, unfortunately, since this is a single elimination kind of tournament, he's unfortunately out. But you still can support him. Make sure to go give him a follow for all our racers, including Timbo as well too. What a seed, right?
What a seed. That went hella fast, and now we've got seedception here all over Timbo's screen. Again, super GG's to both racers, but super shout out to Timbo. Congratulations. Him and I are fellow three-peats, so him and I have been racing together since the first fresh races, so I'm glad to see that you've surpassed me. My only goal in life was to beat Timbo, but now he's surpassed me in skills. So super congratulations, very proud of you.
Time for both of you to join the next tournament and duke it out.
I think this is the first time that he's been in Fresh Faces, and this is pretty far for someone who's doing it for the first time. So
These two have both been longtime supporters of the
Alright.
KH2 rando scene.
The voices in my head, do you want to come back and say a couple final words?
Am I muted to you?
I don't think the voices in my head want to are prepared to come back yet.
Wait,
well, he's
you can't hear me?
Oh, he's talking.
No, we could hear you. Just
Oh, okay.
it was just Travis.
Oh, okay, Travis. What I was saying is
My headset turned off.
Oh, okay. I was like, what's going on
So
here?
I've been doing this whole commentary with no headset on. So that's definitely a row moment for me. So yeah, we're just gonna leave it at that.
You're good. I was saying that Timbo and Banjo now have to join the next tournament and see how they do like in a 1v1 against each other. They didn't get to play each other, so we don't actually know who was the more skilled between the two. But let me snooze this ad. I was going to say these two have been incredibly longtime supporters of KH2 Rando. Timbo supporting Fresh Faces since its inception. And Decksays, actually, for those that don't know, was the host of, or not the host, but was a TO for one of the first tournaments for a lot of us that are still here. He was one of the tournament organizers for JOAT, or the Jack of All Trades tournament. So it felt really full circle to have him back. He has been doing my job tremendously in the chat, reminding people to donate. So massive congratulations to Decksays for making it as far as he did. We hope to. I really hope to see him around. Lovely lad. Congratulations to Timbo for moving it on to the quarterfinals, facing off against Mississippi Scotty. That'll be a fun race to watch whenever that gets scheduled. We are going to take a break. We have a long day of rando ahead of us. As Des pointed out, we have another match in a couple hours, so I'm going to go get some lunch. But before I do, my two lovely commentators, you have the floor to talk about anything you want to talk about. Tell people where they can find you, what you're up to. You have the floor, and let's go in alphabetical order. So we're going to start with you, Banjo.
Make sure to donate. It's a really great cause, and honestly, Rose, third time that he's done the Fresh Faces, and a super big shout out to him for putting all this together. Really great charity that we need to donate to. You can come follow me at Banjo Forever on Twitch. I don't stream unless I'm racing a race, honestly. I'm also in the works of, I've been in the community for just a little bit, and I'm in the process of potentially coming up with my own tourneys, so keep an ear out for that for when that happens. Yeah. Travis, you know.
All right. As for me, I am once again Little Herdes. I do stream on occasion. I've been here and there sporadically. I do play my Kingdom Hearts rando and all. I am, I was participating in the league, doing some other settings, playing some Geek Path, as you guys may have seen me around in race times or in the Discord. Other than that, I do all sorts of stuff. I've been playing a little bit of Elden Ring, trying not to rage quit, so this is my third time playing through Elden Ring. Other than that, I play a series of just random games, like action adventures, platformers, Silk Songs coming up, so things like that. But other than that, I am playing games with Susan. We might sometimes she might be on my channel, and we just play a couple games together and do that, like Peak or Stardew Valley and whatnot. So you can catch me at my channel. Other than that, just DM me if you have any questions, and I'll be around.
Alrighty, commentators, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Always. Alright, now that the commentary booth is gone, the stream has gone down 99% in value. We have massive shout out to Tide, I Was Here, Slimba, Walpy for the donations today. We're so close to 5K, by the way. Please don't forget to donate, because it's going to be so exciting to see that no map race. That 5K incentive is going to be absolutely massive. Yeah, Pride Lands hinted, unfortunately, Deck. Yeah, it hinted the proof. And it was like the fact that it was on Hostel made it super interesting, because Timbo did not have the identity disc. So if it was SP2, you might have been able to catch up and potentially take the lead. What's happening at 5K? Boobla, we have the no map race happening at 5K. Our two TOs, Darkness Mist and Callet, will literally basically have no textures for the world, but they will play a rando seed. So they won't have anything other than walls. They will not have. So any stairs Land, textures, obstacles are not there. So they basically will be doing an invisible rando. It'll be very, very fun. Maybe if we raise enough money, I'll bring back my old incentive of doing... I literally was doing KH2 rando blindfolded when I first started. I might bring that back if we get enough money donated. But let's get to the 5K first. Add puzzle pieces and then go mode? That sounds awful. But yeah, it'll be a very, very fun incentive. But with that, I'm going to go get some lunch. We will be back in about an hour and a half for So versus Podgy. Take care, everybody.